Hello again, Clarksville. It's David from Clarksville Guns and Archery, and I'd like to welcome you all to the party, the Christmas party. Hopefully by the time you see this, it'll already be Christmas Eve. Give you a little bit more Christmas cheer. We're going to do something today a little bit off path of what we normally do, just to be a little fun with it. As many of you know, Die Hard is a Christmas movie. As you can tell, it is one of my favorite Christmas movies as well. So we're just going to go over some of the guns that you saw in there, as well as one that we have to include that we don't have access to, but I'll kind of show you how it works as well. So to kick things off, if you've never seen the film, it's a wonderful, wonderful film from 1988. It's very over the top. It's not very realistic at all, but that's what makes it fun. And that's what we're going to talk about today. These are not really, some of these guns are useful, but for the most part, they're more fun range toys, if you will. So we're going to kick things off kind of in order of appearance. And we'll start off with the Beretta 92. And what I have with me today, instead of a 92, I have a Beretta M9, which for all effects and purposes is essentially the same gun. I'll clear this real quick, show you guys it's clear so we don't get shut down by you guys. There are some just minor differences. For instance, the M9 does not have a little divot in the back here that the 92 does. Also, they kept up with a 2-dot system as opposed to a 3-dot sighting system that the Beretta 92 has. And it says made in US or US made versus made in Italy. What's cool about these is for a lot of people that are Beretta purists like myself, the newer Berettas have a little bit of a slope down here on the dust cover. Back in the 90s when they started making these in 40 caliber, they just made one mold for both pistols. So the newer ones are going to have that. It's not a huge deal breaker, but it's something you do notice. So a lot of purists like getting the M9s because it has the Beretta 92 look. And of course, kicking it off when the movie starts, John's got this in his shoulder holster. He walks around with it. He uses this for the most part. Also, some more movie trivia. Bruce Willis has really, really weird thumbs. The standard magazine release, he couldn't actually fit, so he actually had it retrofitted to make it bigger so he could do mag changes faster. And of course, because he's left-handed, for those that didn't know, Beretta is one of the first guns where you could actually swap the magazine release to the left side, or to the right side rather. So if you were left-handed, you could release it. So it worked out well for him. But you see this a lot of action movies, they pop up, and that's probably the most prevalent. So start with that. If you've never shot one, even if it's not your, you might want to try to get your hands on one. They actually are fun guns to shoot. Not everyone's favorite, especially with the advent of striker-fired pistols, but it's something fun, something enjoyable, and it kind of harkens back to that time period of before everything was all polymer and we had weirder politics. So next we'll go kind of the main star. I'm sure all of you seeing this. This is a HK SP5, stand in for our MP5. And I'll go ahead and check this and make sure it's clear real quick. So as we can all see, it's clear, there's nothing in there. So another misnomer, when I have people tell me, well, you don't have a real MP5. Well, that's cool because they didn't have real MP5s in the movies either. In the film, they were HK94s. They were actually cut down. And the way you can tell that is they don't have the magazine flap. If you notice, one of the gentlemen is trying to shoot John McClane through some desks, and he's trying to do a mag change with the button on the side. The HK94s were meant to be sporting guns, so they didn't think that you needed to be able to do quick mag changes. So what's cool about this, there are several MP5 clones on the market you can get. The SP5 is the closest thing to a real MP5 you're going to get without actually being an MP5. And I know there's people out there that will tell you that the PTRs are close clones and that the old Turkish ones are close clones. There's nothing wrong with those. The deal is, though, this is actually from HK. So some people think this is a little more cost prohibitive. I actually find them to be close enough in cost that if it was up to me, I'd pay a little bit extra just to have that name, but that's me. Some of you may not like that. This is an older school technology firearm. Even though this is a pistol, I'm going to refer to it in its original configuration, the MP5, which stands for Machine Pistol 5. Essentially what happens is there's a roller block on this system. I'll go ahead and do the slap for you because everyone wants to see that. Before I do this, this is not going to hurt the gun. It's in the manual to do this. Once you have the firearm locked up, you give it a slap. And that's how you would load it. What's happening is inside, I'll see if I can pull back here. If we can kind of get in there. There's looks like a little disc. There's two of those on either side. That's a little roller lock that's having a delayed reaction of the gun. This is actually what makes this gun a joy to shoot, especially in full auto fire, because you're not getting that really hard push. It's actually very pleasant, and you can actually kind of shoot this thing one-handed, as weird as that sounds. What is cool about these, this particular configuration is in the Navy SEALs configuration. What that is the SEALs specifically in the 80s requested that the handguard be a little bit thicker. The original one was a little bit slimmer and actually had some texturing to it, as you see in the Operation Nimrod folders. Also, they included a tri-leg adapter if you want to mount a suppressor. So you can do it the old school way of locking it onto these tri-leg adapters, as well as you can unscrew this and do a direct thread if you want to suppress your gun that way. So cool little options they give you. The only thing they don't give you is they don't give you a claw mount, which for those that don't know what that is, there's a little piece right here that attaches a metal rail, as if you were, that locks to the side. And what that does is allows you to mount optics. Back in the 80s, that wasn't really a thing. That's not really a thing until like the early 2000s. So they didn't include it, but you know, it's a lot of purists don't really care one way or the other. So you're going to see this a lot in that film, and that's exactly why I'm wearing this shirt. If you've ever seen the film, you know what it's about. If you don't, the first terrorist he takes out is he writes this on his shirt, and the rest is history. Last thing I'm going to show you that we have on the table is a Smith & Wesson Model 10. Now, in the film, Officer Powell, who I like to call Officer Carl Winslow, if you've ever seen Family Matters, he's the same guy. He actually uses a Smith & Wesson Model 15. I don't have a 15, unfortunately, so this is going to have to make do. Essentially, it's the same firearm, 6-shot 38. There's not a huge difference as far as cosmetics go. The biggest thing being this is going to be a bigger grip, and the frame itself is a little bit beefier. But for the most part, it's essentially the same gun. I've always felt like they've shot the same. These are very nice guns. You don't really see these too often anymore. This does fall under Smith & Wesson's classic line of pistols. And it's more of a, I want to go out and enjoy shooting and enjoy what it was, rather than carry it for a serious self-defense gun. Not that you couldn't do that. But it does have your standard 6-shot, everything that Smith makes, nice double action trigger. It's a very nice pistol, let's just put it that way. Some of you out there are probably telling me, oh, it's pistol versus revolver. Handgun is a pistol, guys. So keep that in mind. Of everything we have out here, there's only 2 guns I don't have. We don't have access to an AUG, otherwise I'd pull that out for you, but I've already done a video on it. So I would suggest checking out our video on the AUG to kind of get an idea of what it looks like. The only other firearm that I don't have is very hard to get. That would be an HK P8, or P7 rather. Specifically the M13, which is a double stack 13 round magazine in that firearm. If we can find a picture, we'll include it in this video to show you what it looks like. That's a wonderful gun to look up too as well. Hans Gruber uses it the entire film. So hopefully that gives you an idea of what those guns were if you weren't familiar with what they were. It gives you an idea of kind of what they look like up close. Again, guys, you know, we appreciate all the support you give us and things like that, and we really hope you guys come in to see us sometime. So Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays. Yippee-ki-yay. Yippee-ki-yay. I can't say the rest, but you know what it is.